Howdy Dandadan fans, or shall I say Fandadans. Welcome to our establishment, you sack of shit. My name is Ben, and every week we are going to be covering new Dandadan chapters as they come out. So if that interests you, drop a like on the video and subscribe, as we are looking to reach our goal of 100k subs. In this chapter of Dandadan, we essentially get our setup to the next arc of the series, which has some Honey, I Shrunk the Kids-ish elements to it. Plus, there's a super rad reference, and I wonder if you guys caught it. I won't mention it in the video, but put down in the comments what you think it is. Let's get into it. So the chapter starts with a news broadcast, and then to father and son lying in a hospital bed next to each other, all beaten up, and I found it interesting that they used this idea of hoodlums beating them up as cover. Very clever, but Unji and Masamichi have a little bit of a funny chat. Masamichi is just absolutely confused by all of this. First off, he's confused when he was going to be told about any of this, but Unji feared that he wouldn't be believed by his father, which checks out. I mean, how could someone possibly describe that aliens and spirits exists, and your son, it's kind of a part of that world and is one? But Masamichi is also confused after he came home to find the old man in his house, but Unji explains his situation, which is another example of Unji's personality with how he really enjoys helping people who are down on their luck, which is because Unji himself obviously was also at one point alone with no help. He learned it from his adoptive father, pretty much. But what's important here is that Unji doesn't seem to remember or know about Saint Germain. Now, I have a theory about this. I don't know if this is exactly because he just doesn't remember his name, or because meeting Saint Germain means you inevitably forget him if he chooses to, since he wasn't even brought up at all in this chapter otherwise. Just something I noticed. It could be nothing, who knows. But all of Unji's friends arrive to show their support for him as he recovers, which is a big theme of this chapter overall. Pretty much everybody seems to be on the same page after this entire event, as in concept, the game did require them to be on the same page and use teamwork. So through that, they learned how to support and care for one another in their respective roles as friends, parents, and maybe even a little more in the case of Momo and Okaru. Though I gotta admit, I didn't see this coming, and I should have, because it happens at the end of every arc, but Seiko quite literally feeds everyone at the Goro Stamina Booster all-you-can-eat buffet. Oh, seems like such a fun, delicious place. She literally has become that stereotypical grandmother who wants everyone to eat way more than they should. You know, the one they tell you, oh, you better eat up, Sonny, or you'll grow, get strong or something. It's just so cute and heartwarming, and shows that despite Seiko being such a hard ass in some ways, in others, she is still that classic, warm, and loving grandmother. I also love that she basically was feeding just a bunch of men, and every single one of them was clearly attracted to her in some form. Plus, she called them all numbskulls, so maybe that's, maybe they're all just masochists, and they probably are all attracted to her because she's a hard ass, who knows? But these feasts also remind me, I gotta put it out there, a lot of the One Piece feasts. But even as a big One Piece fan myself, I just feel like Dandadans has this warm feeling to them that One Piece doesn't, which makes it unique. And that's because, to me, One Piece is more like the feast after a hard journey. And Dandadan has this air of homeliness and being safe, to let your guard down and your fears subside because, you're at home now. And this is, you got this insanely hot granny who's taking care of you, and you may make you attracted to G-MILFs or something. So yeah, not really making a comparison or trying to flame fires here or start something else, God forbid, but just trying to describe how I personally feel when I get to these feasts, minus the G-MILF thing. Anyways, Aira is dressing up Momo in cute little costumes for dolls and having her live in a dollhouse, because of course Aira would do that. I mean, it's Aira. If you're gonna shrink Momo down to the size of a doll, then we must accept that Aira was simply made to step up to this occasion and dress her up in outfits. I mean, duh. Also, I can't imagine that those outfits are anywhere near comfortable. They're not exactly made with high quality materials, and I would know. I am an uncle to nieces and nephews, and all of the clothes on their toys, I mean, they're horrible. I wouldn't ever want to wear them. But yeah, anyways, Momo is pretty cute in these outfits, but she is hella pissed off. I mean, she calls Aira a bird brain and says, Babylonia family my ass. And so Aira gives her best southern gentleman accent and says, oh my, you seem under the weather, I do declare. How about some milk? I mean, just the most ridiculous scene that you could ever think of as Ira both tortures Momo and simultaneously enjoys herself, all in good faith. And pretty much every one of these girls are all in on it too. I mean, even Bamora thinks she's cute with her mouth full of food. Rin obviously is Rin. Seiko in the background is just telling everyone to eat everything in existence, and Ira is like, "What you need is more calcium, madam." Absolutely the goofiest thing I've seen today, but it's just so sweet and cute. How could you not love it? But Gigi brings up something interesting. He asks why Momo didn't ask for his help, and Okaroon was really put in a situation where he had to act quickly, and thus he didn't have time to talk to Gigi about it, which is understandable, but still, Gigi gets on to Momo and tells her to ask him to help next time, and he will join her, not just Okaroon. Now, to me, this is maybe a hint at where I think Gigi's character will go in this arc. I think it's pretty clear this may start to eat away at him, because while they're all on the same page, what hurts the most is that Gigi just wasn't involved, as he considers Momo to be his best friend after all. So over time, I could see this eroding away at their friendship in the short term, possibly in the long term, as long as it's addressed, of course. This roadblock should make all of their bonds even stronger over time. However, Gigi's words spark a sharp reminder of the confession Momo and Okaroon shared between one another, and of course they're awkward teens about it, which is just, oh my god, it's so cute. But I'm glad we're going in this direction, because they're not exactly avoiding the topic, but it's just not the right time to talk about it, as, Momo is the size of a doll. I don't know if you guys saw that, but I think this is a good excuse to do that, to rebuild back up that romantic tension the series has going on for the last couple of arcs. Have them chase each other a little bit longer by having themselves be too busy to address the love thing, and also have Gigi in there too. But either way, the rest of them join in and remind Momo that no matter what it is, they should come to them because they will help her, which just fills the soul with all these good vibes. Oh, it feels so good. That's my favorite thing about Dandadan too, is that it has so much heart and love baked into it, like Seiko's cooking. And once again, Gigi leans down to tell Momo directly, "Momo, you're precious to me." And I think this could also spark a subplot where, I guess it's already a subplot, but Gigi starts to uncover his dormant feelings about Momo, and that leads to, like a light love triangle of sorts. It would make sense. Dandadan loves to take, really played out tropes and put this refreshing twist on them. Though Mai and Ira, I loved this. They end up calling each other skank at the end of the day. So if it isn't Ira calling Momo a skank, it's Ira calling Mai a skank and vice versa. But Gigi then makes sure to check up on Momo's injuries, and for the most part, she's all healed up and feeling like $1,000,000. And honestly, I choose to think she meant that she feels as good as $1,000,000 deers, not money. So the topic of getting Momo back to normal obviously comes up. Seiko has some bad news because she doesn't know how to reverse this either, because as a rule, you don't eat things from other worlds, and Momo did. But what she does know is that she is thankful to Okaroon for helping Momo. And she's thankful to Turbo Granny as well for being by Momo's side. To me, this is another example of Seiko and Turbo Granny having a much closer relationship, and honestly being much better people, especially in the case of Turbo Granny, than I think she is given credit for. But either way, in spite of giving up, Seiko can't let Momo stay this way and vows to return her to her original size. And I gotta say, that was a pretty good chapter overall. So let me know what you thought in the comments below, and how you think they're going to turn Momo back to her original size. Let me all know in the comments down below. As well, if you want to support me, since we're not monetized yet on the channel, try picking up some gamer subs using my code CTactics, which will get you 10% off all orders site-wide. Thanks for watching. See you next week. Bye-bye.